This morning I was woken up at about 7 o'clock by these little squirrels playing outside our hut. When I went outside, I found them scampering around on the roof. They seem to love the fruit from these trees, and there's something rather remarkable about these trees. They're known as fish poison trees, and although the flowers are beautiful, the fruit and the seeds have traditionally been used to stun or kill fish. It's amazing to think that something growing so innocently beside the beach can also have that rather sinister use. Yesterday I'd gone out for a snorkel and I'd been very conscious of the rocks, particularly because the tide was low and there were sharp pieces of coral all over the place. I swam around the big jumping rock and eventually ended up at the far end of the beach where there's a sign saying that it's safe to enter the water. Well, I found out that it wasn't necessarily safe for me to exit the water. The waves were pushing me forward and I got caught against some rocks, scraping my knees in the process. So today I was determined to be a little bit more careful. I'd already swum around it yesterday, so today I thought I'd try something different. I'd go out near the rock, but stay in front of it and see what was there. I waited another hour before heading into the water. Almost immediately I could see Sergeant Major fish. In fact, I could see them before I'd even properly entered the water. They're not shy. If I stop to clean my mask, they seem to get impatient and start giving me little nips. The water was a little cloudy today, probably because of what I suspect is plankton. As I swam further out, I suddenly came across an absolute wall of yellow striped fusulas. There must have been hundreds, if not thousands of them. It was almost like I was swimming through a fog. I could see the fish, but I was also very conscious there were rocks and coral all around me. The fish weren't bothered in the slightest. One thing I did have to keep an eye on was the long-tailed boats coming into the beach to pick up passengers and take them out to the larger boats. When you see the propeller blades spinning at the end of those long shafts, it's a pretty frightening sight when you're in the water. Fortunately, the drivers are very aware of the snorkelers. At one point, I heard a boat start up. I looked up and I saw another driver indicating to me that it was okay for me to continue. So I carried on. It wasn't long before I came across another fish that I think was a silver trevally. And as I got closer to the jumping rock, the coral became much more interesting. There were some beautiful plate corals growing out from the rocks like enormous underwater shells. Then I saw what I initially thought were angelfish. They weren't. They were long fin banner fish, sometimes called coachman fish, with those wonderful long trailing fins. Right beside them was a pair of yellow butterfly fish. They looked like huge dinner plates gliding through the water. As I got around towards the front of the jumping rock, something else happened. The visibility actually seemed to improve. I think the plankton was being pushed around the rock, leaving the water on this side a little clearer. And that's when I saw some tiny fish, including these little neon fish. They looked like bright lights glowing amongst the gloomy coral. As I swam directly in front of the jumping rock, the water gradually became shallower until eventually I could easily stand on the bottom. I swam a little further, but I wasn't going to make the same mistake that I'd made yesterday. I didn't want to try getting out at the far end of the beach, and I certainly didn't want to get caught in the rocks again. The swell was pushing me around a little, so I decided it was time to turn around. On the way back, I came across one of my favourite fish. This beautiful iridescent parrotfish seemed to change colour as it moved. Green, blue, silver, and even pink. Every now and again I saw one of these black-eye, thick-lipped wrasse, sometimes called a half and half wrasse, and its very distinctive dark rear half. There were more little damsel fish scattered around the reef, and then I had to swim through another wall of yellow striped fusulas. It really was an extraordinary experience to be surrounded by so many fish. Eventually I made it back to shore, and this time no scraped knees, no getting caught on the rocks. Just a very enjoyable snorkel around the jumping rock.